And then after 10 years, and then the issue of ownership, you know, started, and the negotiations went on. But unfortunately, the SBC decided to give over the industrial parks to the government, and that was when the government decided that they are pulling away from the partnership of SBC, and because they were subsidizing the SBC so that they can continue building other industrial parks in other townships. So then that's when they said, no, we're pulling away from that partnership because we started complaining about not LPC not assisting small businesses as they are preaching. So so in terms of like getting their share, like the business partners said, no, we don't have cash, so we'll give you the industrial parks that are in the township as debentures. So that's how this industrial parks ended up in the government hands. And so that time government didn't have anybody to run the industrial park, so they handed them to Kula to be in charge or to show any signs of winning and running these industrial parks. So then that's when we took over as tenants, to go ahead and run them. But the issue of ownership started, these negotiations started, when SBC decided to quit, and then we were left with the discussion went on with Kula until I think in 2001, if I'm not mistaken, Kula decided that no, we want to hand over the industrial parks, but we're going to be using this system of that is called TECSA agreement, like sales installment agreement. Yeah. So they're gonna be using that type of agreement, and then meaning that tenants they'll have to look into your history. Like how long have you been in the park, and how much have you paid so far? If it happens that maybe you have already paid your part, and then maybe they reimburse you with whatever that is difference. So right, and tenants were happy. We're so excited about it, and then along the way, that thing just went dead. We don't know what happened. They assigned, I think, Sifa. There's a guy called Shafiq Saleh, who is also like he's been working for SBDC, and then when Kula took over, he went with Kula, and then the Kula gave to Sifa, he went with Sifa, and even up to today he's with Sifa. So I think he's the one who knows like everything, the background of everything, and so that process failed because some way somehow somebody who was tasked to do the job failed to do it. So and then when Sifa took over, Sifa said no, we are not going to give these things for free, like you were promised, because of according to tenants, tenants were saying, but it looks like we have long paid off these industrial parks. So then we want this industrial parks for free. So then Sifa said, no, we're not going to give them for free. So that's when we started like making negotiations. I think that was even before we went to Parliament. So and then along the way they said, "No, okay, we are going to design something that you use. I mean, the method that you use in terms of handing over this industrial park, but at that fee." So, in 20, I think in 2019, um, then they came up with a deal that now we want to give the tenants this opportunity to buy them.
There was the other one after ISA that failed too and came during Takani's tenure.
Okay.
There was another framework then.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Rale, before you carry on, I just want to find out, in terms of all the things that you've explained so far, like for example, the fact that after 10 years they give you ownership or the framework, was this all documented? Is there something that says, after 10 years we'll transfer ownership to the tenants? The framework wasn't shared, that this is how now we're going to approach it, and then when they change to another framework, is it also shared with you or the tenants? So every time, all these steps for so many years, because it has really been many years, and has there been a history of what transpired in terms of documents that you mentioned?
Our challenge is when during that period, our elders, they didn't take things that serious, okay, in terms of documentation. So they were called. They were so excited for the first time. I mean, I'm going to own and my business at the industrial park. So they were so excited about it. So, and when they were told, unfortunately, like I said, that these guys are not here because I think they will relate that better than me. Because of that excitement, they never said, no, okay, give us a piece of paper, just to guarantee that. They were so excited that no, at least the piece of paper that I had is the lease agreement. So, not aware that this might come back and bite them. What they were saying in terms of commitment from the SBD side. So, but that document is there because of when we started these negotiations. When we were talking to, we tried to get hold of some of the SBDC guys who used to be there, during that day. But I think the old man was so tired, and because of they were not like, I think this exchange deal didn't go well with them and the government. So he said, I don't want to be part of this thing, but the document is there.
Can I just quickly introduce Tommy Clausen from the DTIC, Director of Regional Development, responsible for industrial parks. The Deputy Minister, thank you better.
Nice to meet you.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us.
Welcome, Mr. Tommy Clausen. Okay. Welcome, Mr. Muswane.
Good morning.
Right. Before I proceed, let me just introduce Mr. Muswane. This is one of the veterans. This is the man that I said, one of those that can relate better, because he was here when everything started. Unfortunately, sorry that he's late. On his behalf, that he's pulling his legs. Coming here, I dragged him. I forced him to come. He's up to here. He said, no, I'm tired. I'm tired of talking about this challenges because we're not getting any help anyway. So I begged him that please, you have to come. So that one, you're welcome.
Can I just quickly introduce our two new colleagues?
Okay.
So Nazli Sharif is a member of the provincial legislature in Gauteng, and she's responsible for economic development. So has oversight of the Gauteng parks. And Sean Croix, who's a member of the City Council of Johannesburg, and he's the PR councillor for Meadowlands. So he's also here as an oversight on an oversight visit.
Not only with this issue, from my understanding is that when people work on an issue that doesn't have a solution for years, everybody gets tired. So I don't blame him for getting tired. You know, I think talks really got people exhausted along the way and giving up because it was only talks without action. When we've got everything, as I said, at the end of today, we need to come up with the action plan. What are we going to do? As he says, you know, everything. If everything is there indeed, then what is holding the process? What is holding the? Why is it not being implemented? Because to draw up another framework after another framework after another framework leads to this. And you know, I don't think it's the only one that's tired. Because my understanding is like it's been many years. I think many of you are also tired, and many of the people here are tired. And when we have the history and the documents and everything, then we are able to look at what can be done without certainly prolonging the talks and coming for another talk and another talk and another talk. And also sometimes I always say, if you can deliver on something, tell people. I think people get tired of us promising something that we know we can, or we don't intend to deliver.
Yes,
yeah. And I think that is what has made many people lose hope, give up along the way. Because when you don't intend to deliver something, don't promise it. And if you have from a good heart promise you will do it, but realize that you are unable, go back to the people and say, this is not going to happen. Rather let people work on the disappointment then and know what is their next step. What do they need to do? Because leaving people on the ledge is what is causing the frustration. Because they don't know if they're going forward or they're going backwards. They don't know if they must make another plan or not make another plan. They don't know if they're going to be there tomorrow or not be there tomorrow. And I think that leads to a lot of frustration, which is completely understandable. And I think really just looking at the facts and looking at where we fit in and how to resolve the issues that have been going on, we have a duty to engage CIFA, to engage whoever that is responsible who is holding the process, to say, but why? But why is this not moving forward? It can't go on for so many years without a solution. It's unacceptable. And you know, so you can't hold the process for so many years. People need to know, they need to plan their lives, they need to plan their children's lives, they need to plan, and you know, you're just holding it. It really seems extremely unfair. And I'm sure most of you here have got more information than me, as I haven't been involved here, and the things that you've worked on, particularly from government side, and the issues that you've been dealing with, you know, and I think if we can start to move a little somewhere, so that, you know, it's not only build hope, but build hope in action. Not only just bring hope by talking that we think we can resolve it, but it actually makes us more at the moment, because you're dealing with an exhausted audience that is really, really tired, and I think action is going to matter more to them.
Just add something to what you're saying. Why we get tired? It's not that, you know, you get disappointed, and eventually just get tired of it. And we have a precedent where these things were given over to the. There is a precedent. So Shangube, Industrial Park, it's just here, Pretoria. Why did that happen in Sudan when it doesn't happen to all of us? It happened. Isn't it, Peter?
Yes.
I think we can duly note there's a pile of things, and even before my time, from the days of SBDC and Kula Enterprise, and now CIFA, you know, Gauteng, City of Joburg. So the history itself is muddied, you know, that document, whoever promised. I think also, if they mentioned it to you, also, I think the Portfolio Committee then, or the chair of NCOP, Dante Mason, was it? They also came, you know, tried to resolve, to cabinet, and I think there's some reality we just need to check now because of this history, because of these many things. We had suggested a simpler way. Look, industries of this new age are not the same as 20 years, 10 years back. That's a reality as well. This place is no longer the same as it was 5, 10, 20 years. It's no longer, it has changed. The complex of the area totally changed. You saw when you enter the squatter, camp there. It used not to be there. So that also is bringing huge socio-economic challenges to the area. Appeal, whether people are going to be also comfortable coming from those years and now to bring services or to ask for goods to be made. It's only those that will, but we got to have that reality check. When you come in here, fortunately today I didn't see that puddle of water that's usually there. But usually there's a big train, I don't know, best and things. There's a train station here, I don't know if it's still working or not. There's a lot of, now it's working. Now there's a lot of factories, I don't know, people maybe have hijacked
That area.
the nightclub that used to belong to Marcus. Pelican, So there's a lot of things that have happened. So we need the swimming pool here. It's not working.
Yes, it's not functioning.
That building here that used to belong to, and I don't know who it belongs to now, because it changes hands with terrible. We need to have a fresh look at the whole area. Is it still suitable for us to cater for the new enterprise that we want to grow? Can we then repurpose it? Should we repurpose the area for something different? Find a better space to build with the same people that are here, whom we will be able to monitor. Because here's what I will make. Where there's chaos, there's somebody who created this chaos. And they are thriving on it. And for years, we don't know. They are faceless, they are nameless, but they are there. I find it quite bizarre that you'll find here they mostly foreign owned or run. I don't know whether they've taken you around. Yeah, and they are from Zim, Mozambique and things, but you saw how they were working. The buildings were, at one stage they were worse. There's a time where we came with Peter, there was a 6-month-old, right, Peter? There was a 6-month-old and a lady selling spray paints and things in and there was a band shack, those kind of conditions. It warrants for this place to be shut immediately. I mean, we saw it, but they were working there, buildings falling outside and putting together all these furnitures and things like that. There is potential. There are some high precision furniture making guys in the area. So there is some point of excellence, people that could be grown, harnessed, but it needs to be orderly. Because as is, it's also a haven of thuggery and criminality and illegal things that happen. You will see that the fire, they will tell you, was not just an ordinary fire that was started, because of some maybe technical abilities here, but it could have been orchestrated, well planned, for whatever reason. They didn't fix them. It's more than going for years, I'm sure.
2018.
You see it's bad. There's somebody who saying, I am thriving on the chaos that's happening. Because otherwise, if it was serious, they should have done something. Now, when you consider as well that environmentally, the area is not fit even to harbor businesses of this nature. It's not. You find there's a lady who's doing sewing, the other one catering, printing Peter there, and the other one who's doing spray painting, all those things are violated. So we need to take a drastic action. So the thing we said was, it's better that we all then, together with the community that's concerned here, because there were other groupings who were saying, they want to infiltrate the place because there are a lot of foreigners. You can't also run on that narrative. We've got to have a talking session where we look legitimately what is happening. But we've got to work with Department of, the one for Home Affairs, We've got to work with COPTA. We've got to work with police. So there must be that job kind of system. So we all agree what needs to be done. Because we can solve the area here, but coming to that area, we haven't solved anything. There's usually infrastructure bottleneck. There are companies that are not working, are going to harbor as well. these criminal elements from those areas, because high unemployment in the area has risen all of a sudden because of those guys. So we got to be we've got to do some reality check. What are we going to do? One of the things that they used to do, there's a railway station here, he knows, they would throw things here, there's also wetlands here. They throw all the, pollutants there. According to the new industrial eco park, you're not supposed to be doing those kind of things. We're supposed to be responsible in industrial areas. I think the SDG goals also pushes us to rethink industrial areas in that sense. So if we don't do that, we simply want to concentrate that they were old. We want to sort of attack this thing in a realistic way. What needs to be done with the area? But we need to find an alternative where we build credible businesses that we see. Honor the guys who've been here, but help them as well grow in business in terms of the next generation. Instead of just saying, we want this, and somebody says, we don't want, the guys must pay, we want to refurbish. How are you going to refurbish the place? So, DM, I'm saying these are the challenges that we had proposed also to see at the time, but we're met, I think, with a sort of obstacle in terms of people saying, no, but the people must pay rent. It's not realistic. How do they pay your rentals in such a chaotic way? Sometimes the toilets are not working, that and not working, and they've been managing the area. Let's look at the holistic ecosystem of how to develop an industrial space in this day and age. Because it's not going to help for one department to put 10 million or 50 million in this area. How is it going to sustain it? So we still are not answering to building sustainable businesses going forward. So we would honestly vouch that, through your leadership as well, we do get a sort of an integrated system of planning through this and implementing. We need to identify another, and there are, pieces of land that have been proposed that we can work on. Let's refurbish those state-owned, and let's see how then we deal with the issue here, because it's not sustainable. The road between this park, the main road, and there's a huge ditch there and things like that. It's not supposed to be like that. You can't have the park and those buildings just facing the road are all banned now. You can't have a business and we call it, we're still honoring our people, even if it's township. We need to start building credible businesses that will take us to the next era. We talk about 67 plus youth that are unemployed. We are also going to be pouring out another number on unemployed graduates and matriculants. How do we bring them into these institutions where we're going to give them artisanry training and then put them in the mainstream of what these townships can do? So DM, that's what we had said with the teams and sort of shared the same with SIFA. At the time they didn't seem to object, but the only thing that was like a sore area was people need to pay. And the argument was, yes, pay, but they can pay, and they were saying they can collect rentals and pay and give them, but they needed these services, which were not being offered.
Thanks, Tommy. That is very, very, very helpful. How far back, how long have you this proposal?
Last year we did talk to them again about it twice when there was the other CEO and the executive chair before he was changed. So we've been talking about this, but you always find that we brought in housing department, which came and also was willing that we should engage, but we need just to action things, because like I think Date is saying, we cannot be just talking year after month, and they know. I've told them that it's not worth it, honestly, that we should just keep focusing our energies here, and we just need to be clear. We have all agreed, together with the community stakeholders and the people here, everybody, we must be legal as a country. We cannot allow criminality as if we are helpless. You know, I think we must govern, we must take charge. But if we don't do it, and it depends on us as government, somebody must lead that. SIFA had agreed, but there was these things, and you could see that there was a change of leadership in the SIFA. And I think because of the new, probably, SIFA family, maybe there will be more agents. I've talked to the chair, and she was willing for us really to engage, maybe through as well your leadership and interaction. We could expedite that. It's long priority. I'm sure you saw when what's the checkpoint ran a very toxic kind of, and they were just so they can come back next month and say you met and what, and it's gonna be, you see, and maybe they will put it and say, you see, this government of GNU is also failing, so it's gonna be that we are we are a government that's not working, we are not being sensitive. So I would urge, it's really urgent, considering DM that we are also pushing the retail spaza thing. How do we get these areas to be sustainable, to provide the services that are needed to augment what we're trying to do on the value chain of retail, services, automotives? There are a lot of opportunities, artisan retraining, bringing in the youth, so that we can stabilize the unemployment and the many other facts of bringing and really helping enterprises to thrive in the area.
So at the moment, this place is owned by SIFA.
I would say, sometimes when you ask, they say they own it on behalf of, on behalf of.
I've got a full schedule.
Yeah.
I've got a full schedule of all the parks in Gauteng who owns what. I'll send that to you.
Yeah.
And then are they currently paying rent?
Some are not.
Mm.
There's no norm. It depends. Each park has a different setup.
Yeah.
You'll see when we go to Dobsonville and Pennyville. It's a different situation.
Because also what I want us to do is I want us to identify immediate actions and long-term actions. They are, we are really mentioning very, very important matters in terms of us building or identifying land as land to work on, and then really building a proper places where these businesses could grow and actually thrive. And that would only fall within the long term or medium term, as like we are moving into finding solutions for this place. So I always say, what are the immediate things that we can do, and what are the things that are going to require a larger number of, or larger stakeholders like COPTA, like Home Affairs, like all the other departments, which normally also is another process. And what are the things that we can indeed just put it in the long term, and what is long term? What is our definition of long term? Is it like something that we'll build in the next 5 years, 10 years, or is it something that we can build in the next year? And where is that answer? Is that answer with SIFA? Is that answer with a particular department? And I think when we draw up, because they told me that there's been many frameworks from SIFA. There was a framework, and then it was not implemented, then there was a framework, and then it was not implemented. So, all these frameworks that SIFA draw or put together as well and not implement, what are the obstacles? Is it resources? Is it like, maybe no one is just driving it from the executive side or from other places? And I think once we identify that, even I myself personally, I will know my role in terms of which part or which side to approach this, because you could go on like from here. I say no, we must move those people and start building, and then find that it takes like 9 months to get the land going, and then feasibility studies take another 18 months, and then the actual building starts after 7 years, and then maybe I have now focused my energy. I approached it from a wrong angle. So, but when we say, okay, this is from the executive side, this is the support that we need, and I'll also rope in your deputy and your DM as well.
Right.
So yeah, so that from that side we are driving something with your guidance solid, that people can say, yeah, we were here. At least now we've moved a little bit towards a solution. not another meeting, another meeting. So it's because a solution cannot be found overnight. We're not going to fix this overnight, but at least people must see that the steps are now going towards a solution, or towards where we're going. If you're traveling somewhere, you want to know whether you're getting near or whether you're still far. You don't want an answer like, yeah, it's near but it's far all the time, or it's far but it's near all the time. Then you never know when am I exactly going to get there. And that would be my approach in terms of should I say the new framework.
I think what's been missing here all along is determined political leadership.
Yeah.
That's essentially the thing that's missing. And I think there's an opportunity now to change that. Becky, I think you want to put
Thank you very much, Toby. Morning to you colleagues. Thank you very much for this opportunity. As the township economy, we're very excited that there is something that's now starting to roll. Obviously, from our side, what we're requesting, we're looking at industrialization of townships. Because remember, as township economy, we are saying you can't talk township economy if we don't produce what we consume. Now, people, there are a lot of people that are into agro-processing and also other sectors that needs industrial parks so that they're able to then start, the issue of the manufacturing and all that. And also, we're very much interested in the industrialization and the black industrialists, most especially coming up with the township industrialists as well. That program as well. That is why we're here, to say we want to support the move, and then we'll be happy if you're forming a committee, at least to have a seat from the people that is representing us, so that at least we're able to get the feedback. Thank you.
Yeah, just another thing. I think Tommy, you mentioned the new chair of SEDFA, Nonzuzo Makanda, and I think she's a young, dynamic lady. She wants to make a difference. I think she would be interested in really putting some muscle behind this thing, particularly since the parks have become, obviously there's a new CEO who's going to be appointed soon, hasn't been appointed yet, so there's a change of management, and when there's a change of management, there's an opportunity, and you're change of management in a sense, also in the political sphere of the department, so there is an opportunity. It's a complex thing, and the discussions that I've had with you, Peter, and your team, I've often sort of tried to break it down into three segments. The one is the first is a recognition that things can't carry on as they have been. That's the first thing that has to happen. That requires a political leadership to put a stake in the ground and say we're not going to let this carry on any further. The second thing is to have justice meted out upon the beneficiaries of the people that were made promises all those long years ago. Justice needs to be seen to be done in terms of any solution that is agreed upon, and that requires consultation, and it requires compromise. It requires CEFA to say, sorry, okay, there's going to be a moratorium on rentals until we get this thing sorted for 6 months or whatever it is. The third thing is the future. Is it going to be redeveloping the existing parks? Is it going to be rezoning new areas? Who's going to manage these parks? And you'll see when we go to CoSpace this afternoon in Midrand, it's a totally different kettle of fish. It's managed along commercial lines. It's properly set up. It's secure. It runs 24 hours a day. All the stuff that a modern industrial park should look like. So the principles that you'll see operating in a modern space like that are the ones that we need to be implementing here. So I think the points you made earlier just now are absolutely vital. Get all the people around the table, but there's got to be a timeline put together. Otherwise, it's just going to go on for another 10 years. There'll be more frustration, and you'll be 6 feet under before anything happens. We don't want that to happen.
I've got already 1 foot in.
So look,
Because I think I'm the oldest among
I think
even
you are.
including you, Toby.
Yeah, even older than me. Yes.
Yeah, I definitely am because I'm only short.
Yeah.
I'm only short 20 and a half years to be 100.
Hey, no, that's big. Yeah, that's another score years for me. But anyway. So listen, our plan for today, we're going to have another bit of a walkabout. We're going to Dobsonville. We plan to be there just before 11. Oh, sorry, just before 12. Then we're going to go to Pennyville. I think we're due to be at Pennyville at 1 o'clock. So we're not going to be able to provide answers now. We're here on a look-see and a consultation phase, right, Dan? and then we can start to put some plans together for what needs to be
let me
done.
just come in there. When you're going to Pennyville, because you know we've got an organization of people.
Sure.
Pennyville had a bend down of
Yes.
SIFA brought them down to ground level and said we're going to put them up. This is more than 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Nothing has been
I
done.
know.
You know.
I do.
So you see
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Now here, sir, you say this place must be shut down immediately. I agree with you in
No,
terms
no,
of-
not immediately. No.
Oh, I thought you said this thing must be
No,
shut
no,
down
no,
immediately.
It must be systematic.
No.
No.
My question was about what's going to happen to some
No,
of the people
no,
here
yeah.
and the things they have and the transfer of skills to the youth. You know, you might think this place has got no skills
No, they are
or
not.
value. There's a lot of skills that we transfer to youth. We have, yeah, a lot.
Mm. You see, dear, what's needed there? I think I discussed with Toby. We want to put artisan incubation, training, capacity building centers, these value adding centers, skills and common working areas in all the parks, especially in the township, so that they could also do the skills transfer formally, it be formalized kind of thing. It links with what the enterprises there are doing, it takes the township to another level. It provides the professional services. You can't bring your car here if you'll bring it if it's under desperate situation, and that's a reality. You would opt, if there's another way, take it to Boyson's instead of bringing it here. If you're desperate, you're stuck here. Hey, you ask around, they say, hey, they're at Peter, they're at the park. Is it safe? Is it, those kind of things. We shouldn't have those kind of things if we are in this modern era of where everything can be put to the ground within a month. We can have an established. So I think the commitments that needs to happen, I would say, because we've done the draft of even the program initially, I think, and the concept paper of what we needed to talk about with respect to these stakeholder consultation engagements, bring all the consent, tenants, and sort of structure a way forward. These are the things we are doing. We have to start here, do that, and do that, with the aim ultimately that in the meantime, parallel to that, we're going to be looking at an alternative place as well. But what are we going to do with this? And I do believe we need this economic justice, like Toby was saying, although we didn't put it in that term, but we need it, so that we can show to the people, local people around, that we do recognize. Without us really recognizing that, people will be saying, now you're coming with another gimmick of making us want to pay and forget the things that we've done to us, etc., etc. So we need to build. But the area again that I want to put to the colleagues, and I did, we do not have sufficient funding as government. We've said it, and I've stressed it to them. We would need to collaborate in terms of funding, co-fund with others. But even that's not enough. We need private to be active in this. So local private, but also private around Joburg. If there's an international private that wants to put and work with us on this, we need them, because unless we've got that private-public partnership, there's nothing that's going to move. Government doesn't have money to really refurbish the whole place. If we are to refurbish this place or any other place on our own, it's not possible. So those are things that in that workshop, in that consultation, we need to share on the models, look at things that work elsewhere, how we can adapt them to work here, share those kind of lessons so that we can all grow this economy. But it's urgent. We can commit that by February. We'll set up a date. I'll talk to SIFA, to SIDFA now, to coordinate that date. And then
Just another thing I need to mention, that is this concept of the township economy itself needs to be rethought in terms of the broader economy of South Africa.
absolutely.
Because the township economy on its own is not sufficient. It doesn't have demand to create opportunities for businesses to supply just the township economy. They need to be expanding out into the other parts of the economy. There need to be business linkages between established business, what we call the formal economy, and township businesses. That means that they can expand beyond the borders of the township. South Africa is one country. And you can't just be saying, well, businesses in the township must do businesses in the
No, no.
business in the township. They have to be integrated into the broader
Mm.
economy.
No, it's part of the inclusive economy.
Exactly. So discussions
We are
with
inclusive
BUSA,
economy.
with BLSA, you know, with the Chambers of Commerce, with the NIASA, you know, NIASA who came and sponsored our event in Disrobang, they have 7,000 businesses, mainly white-owned businesses, that are wanting to do business with the township businesses, but they don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
So we can actually help to cross those bridges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is why when we talk about, you know, economic growth, we always start with the word inclusive.
Yes,
Yeah.
To
precisely.
show, yeah,
Yeah.
to that means that.
Exactly.
I just want to ask, you mentioned something about the social movement industrial parks being handed over to the people. Was it
That's me.
So I just want to understand that the model that was used today, is it the same kind of setup like here? And then
Yeah, it was the same setup like here, but it's many years ago. It was during the time of business partners. Before SIFA. It was during the time of business
then
partners.
I understand. Yeah. And then I just want to say from here, I want to understand it from us. Tell me from here, what is our next step? What is the next step from here? What must we do from here?
Well, I think before I answer that question, I think we need to visit the other parks, because I think that Pennyville has their own story, and it's an important story. It's much bigger than this park. It's more established in the sense that it has bigger businesses, and I think that, you know, we can start to answer that question once we've met with them. But I think it's basically, as you said, Tommy, getting the stakeholders around the table and having the political will to make things change for the better.
So,
Yeah, I think in line with what yes, we'll go and visit Pennyville and the story as well. There's the other two parts that we're going to see.
Thompsonville first, yeah.
Yeah, there's Indeni as well, but we will someday.
We'll do that another time.
Yeah, we'll do that in another time. But it follows through the same modus operandi as these ones, you know, especially Dobsonville. You know, it's slightly better than Dobsonville, but it's just the same as. The intention should be to bring all the parks, Pennyville, and we can bring even the one in Klapspruit if it's running.
Yeah, there's one like Midway. I just spoke to the guy, Martin, now.
No, he's here.
He's here.
Yeah. So
Martin, okay, thanks.
So what we can do, we'll have to have a consolidated or a one workshop. You know, it can be over 2 days, but we will come up with that common framework. You know, Orlando, obviously the solutions for this one is going to be different to the one in Pennyville. It's going to be different, but at least we can have some kind of a thought process which says these are the pillars that we need to build these industrial parks going forward.
Yeah, in addition,
And
please,
so- So if we can do that stakeholder consultation workshop, we will do that. We have to consider these people that have been working here, giving us their experience and sharing. So we'll have to be inclusive as much as we can. But in that workshop, we'll also bring in other expertise who've run industrial parks different. I mean, we work with your CSIR, your UNIDO. We want to bring this perspective, how to run self-contained energy systems within the parks. Because we know without energy, without proper water and all those systems, we cannot get these to be functional as the co-space kind of models. So we need to get that workshop. 2 days, we commit that we can organize that in February and get all the stakeholders. What then we would need, obviously, we will unpack all the other things that have got to do with governance, have got to do with financing, funding, and look at other things as a model. I think key to this area resolving it would be, do we get a land? We'll arrive at that when we do the unpacking of the workshop. Do we get a land for such people? What are the constraints here? And look at the pros and cons, you know, and how then do we move parallel without getting the businesses to suffer, but also for them to see the next wave of development. Because here, we got to be realistic. The graph will tell us it has gone this way. It hasn't gone this way, you know, in many of these ways. If Peter and them today or next year leave this area, will it continue to be like this? It's going to be worse, you know, so it's going to keep going down. So we need to rethink and reimagine what we want and put those things in action there. I think from programs point of view, DTIC has got the infrastructure fund. Small business has also got an infrastructure, we can work around that. We also have got sector targeted incentives from the DTIC, so we can look into that. We also
There's
have
the presidential.
we also
infrastructure
got
fund.
so we can look at how we can build a model, but there must be, because all of these are not going to give us funds if we do not show sustainability, and it's got to be business. It must be private also that's able to say we will be part of the governance of running and operating these things, so that we collect rentals, it's equitable, it's inclusive, we do all the things that we've talked about. So DM, that's what I think at a high level. We'll then redraft and look at the concept paper we developed with the input of others. We're not necessarily there. We had a meeting, a discussion with Pennyville. Unfortunately, the others, Mbeni, and Dobsonville, there was no one to be found there. But the most active one is this one. But, and the broader Hapipa, input.
No, I just wanted to add the Nicefield one, Tammy. The Nicefield. Whether did you also get somebody? Because there's another big one.
I think it belongs to City of Joburg.
The Nicefield one.
Yeah, there are lots
But
of
we've got-
yeah,
we've got-
I mean, so obviously the municipal governments as well as the housing government have to be part of this discussion.
Okay, yes.
Because they're also stakeholders in this whole.
Yeah. Maybe following up on the workshop, I'll really propose to have one annual events that we normally do as the industrial park, so that we keep track on what are the issues and all that. Maybe after the workshop, look at Indaba for the industrial parks, but have one event that brings all the stakeholders together annually.
Do you want to say something else?
I'm just saying that's a good idea, because then you get to track your
Mm.
KPIs
Yes.
and you get to see every year, okay, this is not working, maybe we need to make a U-turn. And government struggles with this. Once government says they want to do something, they do it. Even if it goes wrong, they keep on doing it. So if you have something annually, you have your stakeholders that can keep you accountable to say, this is not working, maybe we need to redirect our focus and our energy. So I would agree, I think that's a good idea.
Okay, we need to be moving on. Is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to check, because we said, okay, the workshop time has summed it up very nicely. In terms of the meeting with SETFA and other, the chairperson and other, maybe a smaller stakeholder kind of engagement, that I believe should happen before the workshop.
Yes,
Yes, it's going to happen. I've already spoken to City of Joburg and how they so at least we can try and get that and together with City.
So my committee is the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition Portfolio Committee in Parliament. And our job is to assist the department in achieving its goals of inclusive growth throughout South Africa. And that includes the townships and all other industrial and commercial areas in the country.
Okay, how can trade policies benefit small township businesses?
Well, a lot, because at the moment most businesses in South Africa are not exporting to other countries, so we need to provide them with the platforms to do that through incentives, through trade shows, through business linkages, through our embassies, through our trade missions, and really get these businesses also to produce products that have an international quality that is acceptable to buyers overseas.
Okay, and the last question is, how do you ensure fair access to markets for small businesses?
Fair access is about creating competitive markets, making sure that existing players are not hogging everything for themselves through unfair regulations, and also tariffs and other measures which make it more convenient for existing businesses to retain their existing markets. But we want to try and provide new channels through the sorts of trade links that I'm talking about, and give those businesses the training and the skills development that are necessary to bring them into those markets.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure, thank you.
All right.
Township economy has always been there, so it's not a new concept. And I think at the moment we talk about really upscaling township economy and making sure that it creates the jobs that are needed. As you know, it's the apex priority of the government of national unity to create an inclusive, growing economy. Inclusive, particularly focusing on the township economy and make sure that we create the jobs that we said we will create.
Okay. What measures are in place to ensure sustainability in the development?
Yeah, as you have heard today, when we are talking about sustainability, we're talking about making sure that these businesses actually are sustainable or sustain themselves. Today, we've come up with a number of issues because each sector is different. We've come up with a number of issues like where these businesses operate, where the customer base is, because you cannot have a business where there is no clientele. Things like that contribute to your sustainability and the support that they receive, not only from government, but the support that they receive from us as residents as well, or as South Africans, to support our local businesses.
The last question, how is the department helping informal businesses to formalize?
Yeah, look, the registration, I think we've started with that process, not only now with the issue of sponsorships, but it has always been something that has been going on, that informal businesses need to formalize, because that's the only way for them to upscale as well. They cannot remain informal and they cannot remain small. We need to understand that a small business doesn't have to remain small. They move out of being a small business and become a bigger business that actually employs a lot of people. So those processes are in place, and there is there is no business that will say, I want to formalize my business and I've got nowhere to get help. You start at your municipality, there is places to register. Your local economic development office is responsible for that. Wherever you go, you will realize that there are systems that will help you formalize your business and also contribute to our tax, because the minute you're formalized, you're actually really, really contributing to the economy of this country.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. All right.
Is Carlo. These parks were 1982, and then we were told that after 10 years, she's the owner lezindawo, but that never happened. That's it's on his card. Yeah, but I think this time bazosiza ngoba bathi bazosebenza nathi. They'll be nathi on a round table ukucharter a-way forward. Before, there was nothing like that. It was always them telling us what's going to happen.
Thank you so much.
All right.